You may hear wind on the camera. That's okay. I'm up on the hill. This is where I had tried to overcome my illness and bring Sean and Mary Ellen up here on top of the hill because I wanted them to see this. Where I'm standing, well, I'll tell you that after I sweep around. That's the cherry tree house right there, of course. That down there is the house where I live. Those are the various buildings. The final one on the right is the guest house, and I'm standing in an old bis, and my goal, it appears that here is where I let the water through. I believe that is. My goal for the next 2 months or so, maybe 3, is to get water by gravity to this point where I'm standing. There's Kenton's Knob way out there. If I can do that, I've got irrigation water for this entire area. Now, to get water higher than this would take pumping by some windmills. Now, so there's my goal. And up there is going to be, I'm not only going to work on the water, I'm also going to work on the, what I call the gur, a 6-sided gur surrounded by 8 folk huts. And I have a lot of the material for that. The piles that are just tumbled together, that's firewood. So I'm going to go up there and walk into the woods. Oh, look, you can see the red buds are beginning to show. The buds that are red, not red buds, but down there is where I was standing, and now I'm walking toward the center of what's going to be the gur. That pipe that's standing up there is not going to be a stack for smoke. It's going to be the center of an open fire, and it won't be supported by concrete blocks but rather stone, and around that pipe will go 6 bed sheds, which you could take a look. I could even give you the link. I know how I'm going to build them. I have the material, and I had everything ready last fall, those blocks standing on end so that they wouldn't freeze to the ground. But as the winter developed, I was not able to work up here. Now this will house somewhere in the area of 30 people. This area, 30, 40 people. I always lose count. Now I'm going to get down to the aqueduct. I'll have to clean the loose ground out of here, but here is the highest that water will come by gravity. That's when the aqueduct's full. Between me and the aqueduct right now, all those timbers, I brought them up there. They're available to build 2 small windmills. But I'll turn my attention to that much later. First, I got to get the water here. Now I'm going to go past the aqueduct into the woods to what I call the folk fold. Boy, this is beautiful material. It's extremely weak. What do you call it? Compromised, but it's pretty, and I'll find ways to use it. There's my strategic stockpile of pallets. This material right there, I noticed that it seems to be unaffected at all by solar radiation. Anyway, I'm at the end of the aqueduct. This is where Grandpa Jim Biss delivers water to the aqueduct. One of my jobs I'll be devoting myself to is going to be rewatering this Biss. Some of you who have been following me for a year or more will recognize Jim and Jam, I think is their names. The 2 of them mark how far the water has come, and that's where it was. Now I'm going into the folk fold. Just the way I left it. I have, it's going to involve 7 folk towers, I call them, folk cabins with folk huts on top. And I'm walking up the middle, and all these pallets that are stacked here, they're going to be the floor for those folk towers. And I got to get them up there for two reasons. One, to have them up there, and then I can lay plastic over it and make it waterproof. But I also have to get them out of here, because this is the area where I want to build a fountain. And that slab that I've been breaking apart, I'm going to use it here as paving. There's going to be a kitchen for this whole area. In there is the cook stove pieces that I have to reassemble. It's survived the winter. All right, back there's where I came from. Now I'm going to walk on up Grandpa Jim Biss to see what the water supply is like. I've been walking along Grandpa Jim Biss, dry of course because it's unmaintained, but that's going to change. And I'm right at the point where it goes along the edge of a cliff, or the face of a cliff. But you can see the water supply down there. That's what I've got to work with. And that's already plenty to get to work hard. And now's the part where I could use a dozen people. Because it's not only here, it's also upstream, which I'll take you to. Now's the time to capture that water, not let it just run away, but hold it for a while on the mountain as a perched water table. I'm going to continue along to where that yellow bucket is. There's the yellow bucket. There's my water supply. And I'm at the Grandpa Jim Weir. This is where the water is diverted. And even unmaintained all winter, it still is starting down the Biss. Before I go on up, I'll hoe the leaves out of the way, but I'm not quite ready to get to work here. That's a fine supply. That would reach, with maintenance, that would reach the hilltop to the southern tank, water tank. That's what I'm going to call that place where I started.